Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 14th of February 2023. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished the day up 0.2% to 7,431 points. It's all about earnings at the moment. Among the large caps today, the banks were mixed. Woodside fell more than 1% after a pretty decent session yesterday. Telstra and Aristocrat Leisure were both up around 1%, while South32 was the best of the large caps, jumping 1.3%. Story number 2, cryptocurrencies, having bounced at the beginning of 2023, have fallen back over the past week or so. Bitcoin is back down to $21,000 a unit, while Ether, Cardano and Binance have all come off. The slump follows concerns that the US Securities and Exchange Commission will crack down on the digital units, banning what's known as staking. Staking is a way of verifying transactions and involves using the digital currency as collateral, which regulators don't like. Last week, Kraken, one of the highest profile crypto exchanges, agreed to pay a $30 million settlement for staking. Given that many of the digital units use staking, they're suddenly on the nose. Story number 3, James Hardie had been a powerhouse company up until the end of 2021, but it has really struggled ever since. And yesterday said earnings were down 26% for the half year to the end of December. The group, which has businesses in North America and Australasia, yesterday cut its earnings guidance after reporting a fall in sales in what it calls challenging conditions. It's the second downgrade in 4 months and also reflects higher input costs. The bottom line is the North American new home construction market is slowing sharply, and so too is renovation activity. James Hardie's share price fell 4% yesterday, meaning it's dropped 12% in less than 2 weeks. Story number 4 is all about the other profit reports today. Earnings at Blood Plasma Group CSL fell 8% last half because people were giving blood again post-COVID. Revenue surged nearly 20%, but compared to a year earlier, which was a COVID-affected result, collection costs were much higher. Makes sense. Also, there were big expenses relating to CSL's $12 billion purchase of Swiss pharma company Vifor. The Star Entertainment Group's woes continued the day after it said revenue may be up to $1.6 billion lower, thanks in part to new pokey taxes in New South Wales. The group's share price fell 13.5% today to $1.28. It's now around 25% below its pre-COVID level and at a record low. Scrap metal recycling company Sims reported a 60% decline in net profit during a period where margins were squeezed and demand weakened on the back of lower steel prices. Obviously, if new steel is cheaper, scrap steel doesn't fetch as much. The group was equivocal about its outlook, but the investors liked something about the result. Sims' share price jumped 7%. In fact, it was the best of the top 200 today. Ansell said its healthcare unit had suffered post-COVID, triggering a sharp fall in revenue and profits. Its share price fell 9%. Seven West Media said its profit for the last half was down about 5% and its share price fell 4%. Breville said revenue was slightly higher, as was net profit. The good news from that result was an improvement in supply chains at the company. That didn't prevent its share price from falling nearly 5%. And finally, story number 5, it's a very big night for global markets with US inflation data for January set to be released. These statistics will set the agenda for trading in coming weeks and perhaps months. At this point, bond investors seem more cautious about inflation, wary of the Fed's recent messages about the need for much higher interest rates. By contrast, equity traders appear more relaxed, with the S&P 500 trending upwards. In December, inflation was running at an annualised rate of 6.5%, and the consensus view is that it will have slowed since then. We find out about that one tonight. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 14th of February, 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. The top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.